Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your entrepreneurship tutor, Professor Henry Bis of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Today, I want to talk about strategic planning, which I'm calling looking into the far future. This is meant for students, tutors of strategic planning, but also important for businesses, corporate bodies, and virtually anybody who wants to plan their affairs ahead. Yes, looking into the far future. By way of introduction, I want to say that all of us, consciously or unconsciously, know that strategy is important. The word strategy originated from the military and meant the tactics of winning a war or defeating the enemy. It is now commonplace and can generally be understood to mean the tactics of achieving an objective or goal. It may be how to pass examinations, how to outcompete competitors, and this may be competitors in business, competitors in games, or in other. Indeed, it may be even how to win a future wife. Well, how to win a future husband too. Virtually every executive knows that strategy is important, but almost all of them also find it scary because it forces them to confront a future they can only guess at. Making wrong steps towards the future scares us stiff. We therefore try to look into the far future via some careful planning, which is strategic planning. Simply put, therefore, a strategic plan is a vision or look into the future and the basic steps required to achieve that future. It's a plan about the end and the means to the end. Now, look at these cartoons and tell me what they talk about in matter strategic plans. Look, I'm thinking of getting into strategic planning game. If I understand the job description, you basically hallucinate about the future and then something different happens. You also have to pretend it's useful. Really? That sounds hard. Now, what do this cartoon tell us about strategic planning? Let's look at another one. It's been 5 years since this command developed a new strategic plan. I know where the last one is. Someone put it on my shelf after Taylor finished it, and it hasn't moved since. Well, the fate of every strategic plan ever written. So I'm asking, what do these cartoons tell you about strategic plans? Well, pause the video, look at them again, read and digest, internalize it. Now, growth. Everybody wants to grow. You go standard 1, you want to grow to standard 8. You go to second school, you want to grow to university. You go to university, you want to grow, graduate. You start business, you want to grow along your careers in the ranks. You go to the army, you want to grow. You go into business, you want to grow. Well, all of us want to grow in one way or another. Physically grow, mentally grow, business-wise grow, wealth increase. Yes, we start by looking into the far future. If you're talking of growing, where are you growing to? That is envisioning, looking into the future. That's planning. A plan is a look in the future. Then you set up strategies to reach that future, that goal. And then you achieve the goal. Yes, at least on paper. Well, some of us fail as we try to travel to the future. Some work well, we can jump hurdles and go on. Some struggle, yes, while we're doing the future. Now, one version of strategic planning process is this one. You do some environmental assessment, evaluate the current and the future competitive position. That means you ask, where are we now? Then you do organizational direction, assess a mission, vision, and values. That means you are asking yourself, where should we be going? And then you formulate a strategy, establish goals, make initiatives and objectives. And that's you asking the question, how do we get there? And then you implement the plan. You do action plans, execute the plan, and the process continues. Once you achieve this goal, you go further. So it's a cycle. Yes, and another version of strategic planning process. Entry, we ask yourself, where do we want to go now? Then, but where are we? We want to go somewhere, but where are we? Questions, answers to these questions start assisting you to plan. Now, how will we achieve the future? What are the interesting links? Where do we need, what we need to do? Who will do what? How do we measure what we are doing? All these questions, give them the answers and will automatically be doing a strategic plan. So I am saying we can collapse this strategic planning process into 5 questions. First, we say, where are we now? If we want to write our strategic plan, we must start from somewhere, and somewhere is where we are. So the first question, where are we now? But then, where are we coming from? We may be coming from somewhere. If you are coming from nowhere, then you are starting now. Where are we coming from? We're coming from here, from where we are. But if you are on the journey, you are in business already, you throw back and say, where are we coming from? Now, where do we want to go? That's the third question. How do we get there? And finally, how shall we know we have arrived? So we are saying, your 3 wheres and 2 hows of strategic planning is a possible process shortcut to your strategic plan. Your strategic plan need not be pages and pages. I've seen strategic plans that are volumes and volumes. Very scary. So let's go now to our question 1, which will be step 1. Where are we? This we call it situation analysis, situation assessment. Assess and evaluate the situation about your customers now, the current customers, the future needs of the current customers, the perception about the company, competitors, what are their strengths and weaknesses, industry, what are the current trends in industry, performance, what are the trends, how are we performing, employees, what is their status, the environment, what environment are we operating in? And on this environment, I have identified this acronym SLEPT and COPE. The S means socio-cultural. Look at the socio-cultural environment. Which one are we operating in? How does it affect us? The legal regulatory, the L. The economic, the political, the technological, the competitive, and the physical environment itself. Look at all this. What are they? And I'm saying stop. Don't just list and explain them. Say how they are affecting the business. Very many times I have seen strategic plans that have just listed this without relating them to the strategic plan. That's an undoing. Question number 2, step 2. Where are we coming from? Review and evaluate the past strategic plan. You saw in those cartoons. The failures and successes. Where did you fail? Where did you succeed? Can we correct the failures? And can we hang on the successes? Yes, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you make them twice. That's why it's important to evaluate the past strategic plan. Very rarely do companies, corporates, evaluate the past strategic plan. I have just finished doing a strategic plan for the African Institute for Capacity Development, and we indeed, together with the team at the institute, we reviewed the past. We saw the ambitions of the past. We scaled them down, and now we have a manageable strategic plan. When I was doing the strategic plan for Westlands constituency, we did the same. Was there any plan before? No, there wasn't any plan. So we started by baseline evaluation, baseline information. So we are saying, learning from your mistakes and your success is important. We are saying here, try, fail, success. You try, you fail, you go back. You try, fail, that is corrective, and then you succeed. And we're saying mistakes and correction is equal to learning. So we must learn from Indeed, it is Edison who said, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So failure should, in fact, be taken to mean first attempt in learning. Fail. First attempt in learning. So you fail, you learn. And therefore, looking back where we're coming from, evaluating your past strategic plan is extremely important. Step 3, which is question 3, where do we want to go? That is, you're now choosing your strategic action. This is very easily the heart of strategic planning. The key activities here include vision and visioning, vision statement, mission statement, goals and objectives. These are very important. If you ask me, I would say the mission statement is very important. Some visions and even missions statements are inconclusive. Look at some components of the mission statement. Somebody gives us 9 components. Customers, your customers. Your mission statement must capture the customers, must capture the products and services, must capture markets, must capture technology, survival or growth profit, the philosophy, self-concept, public image, and employees. I dare say many strategic plans that I have seen ignore employees. Employees are internal customers. Why do you write a vision and a mission? So that when we come to review, come to those meetings, progress, monitoring, and evaluation, we say, are we achieving our vision? Are we achieving our mission? Now, if you had no concern for employees, And therefore, when you review, you are not checking whether you are achieving the objective of employees or not. Then the employee will become frustrated, satisfied. At universities, unions, staff unions, we must bring on top all those on board all those stakeholders. Elsewhere in this channel of mine, I've talked about stakeholders. So just a one statement, mission statement is good, but not good enough. It's not sufficient to guide your strategic plan. You may not need to include all these 9 components, but 50% and above will do you good. Question 4 or step 4. How do we get there? That means now the roadmap. Getting there mainly means maximizing the use of your internal strength to benefit from the external opportunities, but being aware that there are both internal and external obstacles to overcome. This is best done via a SWOT analysis. Yes, that model, I've seen that model in virtually all strategic plans that I've checked. Go on the internet yourself. Just listing the strengths, listing the weaknesses, listing opportunities and the threats and leaving there. That's not good enough. SWOT analysis must be made more meaningful. Look, yes, you list your strengths and weaknesses. Those are your internal strengths and weaknesses. Then you list your opportunities and the threats, which are external. Then you use this one, you match them to generate the strategies, to generate the roadmap. You will come up with SO strategies. Sometimes you call them maxi. You want to maximize your strengths. Use them to the maximum to tap the opportunity to the maximum. WO, you want to minimize the weaknesses so that you benefit to the maximum from the opportunities. The ST, you want to use your strength to the maximum to cope with the threats. And WT, you want to minimize both weaknesses and threats. Now, if you have not done this, your strategy that you're going to develop will be offside, so to speak, because the strategies might be generated from your own strength, your weakness, and then look at the opportunities out there. How can we capture them? And the threats. So a comprehensive SWOT analysis lacks in many strategic plans that I've reviewed, whether as a consultant or just looking at them on the net. The last question, step 5. How shall we know we have arrived? This basically means monitoring and evaluation. The key value to strategic development comes in the implementation of the plan. Unfortunately, much too often, strategic plans become space fillers on an executive's bookshelf. A lot of resources, manpower, funds, time are spent on them, yet the implementation is not monitored, and when the next plan period comes, no evaluation of the strategic plans is done. Yes, one tool that you can use to monitor is what we call the log frame. Your objective is listed, where you want to go. The purpose and the mission statement is the purpose. The results and activities. All these must be measured. You must set up what we call objectively verified indicators. How will I know that I'm achieving what I set up? Those are indicators. And you must also know how you're going to verify it. You're not just get from the head. Is it recorded anywhere? Are you just going to observe depending on what you are doing? But always there are some assumptions. Remember, we are looking to the future, and none of us can look in the future with certainty. So, the log frame, whose model you can see, is very useful in that implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. Indeed, The log frame can also assist to get the action plans. Look at the bottom of this log frame. The Gantt chart, the when, the inputs, the how, the who. So your log frame will assist you to schedule, to Gantt plan, and therefore monitor and evaluate effectively. So this is, in a nutshell, what your strategic plan should do or how it should be done. The details, yes, we can avail them. So if you enjoyed it, like it, share it, subscribe. And if you wish to support us, bring more, then donate. Just visit our website, Mukmik, www.mukmik.co.ke. Donate via email. You can also donate via our M-Pesa buy goods till number seen on the screen. And we also consult and train in strategic planning. So thank you for listening, and strategically place yourself, won't you? Look ahead and establish the means to getting that end. It doesn't matter what you are doing, a strategic plan will be helpful. Thank you.